Hey, first of all, I need to consider the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
You got a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Consider the minutes of the February 3rd, 2026 regular meeting.
So move.
I got a first and a second.
I'll second. If you want, it's all three sets, first three sets.
Okay, February 3rd, I'm sorry, February 3rd, 2026 regular meeting, the February 9th, 2026 special meeting, and the February 10th, 2026 regular meeting. So if I could get a motion,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
okay, got a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Any citizens wishing to make statements during the discussion of any item must first be recognized by the commission chair. After being recognized, that person should state their name and the name of any organization represented. Statements should be limited to 5 minutes. Please silence all phones and electronic devices. Recording the meeting is allowed, and the commission requests that anyone using special recording equipment be seated in the back row to avoid creating a distraction during the meeting. Okay, we'll move on to old business, and there is no old business at this time. So moving on down to new business. All new business to be considered by the commission will be heard at this time. And first of all, we have inventory of county property, and we'll have Ms. Meidler, County Clerk, Chris Sanchez, Deputy Clerk, and Derek Hollingshead, Information Technology Director.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Every year I send a report of inventory to all the departments and they submit changes to me. IT does all computer related items, and the result is the report that's on your desk, and we just ask for your approval.
Okay, their discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Sure.
you're still using the CIC software for that, and that's
Yeah.
working pretty well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Does each department enter their own?
No, just solid waste, and IT does all the computer stuff.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Any more discussion? It's a pretty big inventory list.
Sure.
Sure.
I move to accept.
Okay, got a first. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
First and second, all in favor?
Hi.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next off, we've got the sheriff's office replacement of certain fleet vehicles, and we've got Sheriff Bellender.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
As you know, last year we did not replace, we held off replacing vehicles because we were looking at possibility of leasing at the time. We decided not to do that. I did not spend hardly anything out of my vehicle line. And we discussed this earlier. The commissioners want, and as everybody knows, for the press, and once my budget is done at the end of the year, it's done. And that money goes back to the county commission. Commissioners agreed earlier, prior to the first of the year, that whatever we sent back, they would go ahead and apply toward the vehicle for this year, since we did not use it last year. We were the quickest and easiest, and we've had very good luck with this. We've got 4 vehicles on order from the Kansas Highway Patrol. They all come in. They're all 4 Durangos. They trade their vehicles in at 49,000 miles. They take them out of service. We've ordered 4 of those. Total bill on that's $152,650. I would like to apply the $116,000 that I returned, like $116 and change, that I returned last year to this bill, and then the difference I'll pay out of my budget for this year. That will still leave me some wiggle room here later in the year, in the event I need to replace more vehicles, which we probably will. One advantage to using vehicles purchased from the Highway Patrol is they are already equipped. They've got the lights, sirens. We have to put our own radios in them, but it's already they're already set up. It's basically you throw the radio in, plug it in, and we're ready to go. So with your permission, I would like to go ahead and proceed with this. And if you would be so kind as to reimburse me my $116,000 to apply towards this, I'd appreciate it. Do you have any questions?
Any discussion? Anyone?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just like to thank the sheriff for being frugal last year. I know we were trying to keep hold of some of that money just in case we did decide to lease those vehicles, and it just didn't pencil out as well as we thought it might. So I, for one, am glad to be able to reimburse you what you did not spend last year, which you would have spent had
We
you
would-
not
we-
been
we-
investigating the lease option.
Yeah, we're getting tight on vehicles. I've got guys sharing vehicles, and it's just normal. Patrol cars have a hard life, and it's just normal wear and tear on them. So and that's why one of the other reasons we went with used ones from the Highway Patrol. One, there's substantial savings on them from buying a new one, not only in the initial price of the vehicle, but in the equipment. And it's quick. So,
And the installation of the equipment.
yeah,
Yeah.
that gets expensive. You're talking $6,000-7,000.
Mr. Chair, I think we realized with the enterprise research, we did the upfitting cost for, it's quite extensive, so.
All right, I'd also like to say what Commissioner Hutchinson said, you didn't run out there and spend the money.
No.
You held on to it and it's a wise decision. So thank you for that. So with that, if there's no more discussion, I'm ready to receive a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
right if my voice works. Move to approve the purchase of 3 2023 and 1 2022 Dodge Durango Pursuits AWD from the Kansas Highway Patrol Car Fund. Total cost $152,650 to be paid as follows. $116,750 from the Equipment Replacement Fund, General Line 072006380, and $35,900 from the Sheriff's Office account of the General Fund Vehicular Equipment Line 001126205.
No question. I'll second that.
You got a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff.
You.
With the chairman's permission, I'd like to straighten the agenda for just a moment.
Yes, please do.
As far as our plumbing issues, we're probably 95% back to done as everything's fixed. The 5% that we are not is not operational is minimal, and it's things we're waiting on parts for. Some of it was normal wear and tear that we would have had to replace anyhow. Some of it was due to the mishap with a water softener, but we were 95% back online, and we squeaked by that. That could have got real expensive real fast. So we got that figured out.
Mr. Chair.
Good.
Yes.
Have they installed the new water softener yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're nervous about it. But yeah,
Oh, so good.
they installed a new one. So
Okay. All right.
any further questions?
No, I just appreciate you keeping us, not only the commissioners informed, but the public also. I think the public was well informed, and there was really no doubt of what you were doing and what you had to do.
Okay. And I can wait. The agenda's pretty light, but when you ask for statements from the public, I have one more issue that I want to
Okay.
present to the
Okay.
commission.
You can probably just go ahead and do that now.
Or, yes, I guess I assumed that you were going to.
I initially thought I was going to do this in study session, and but the agenda was pretty light today. George N. Moses was the first sheriff of Barton County. He was sheriff in 1872. He was appointed. He was a guide that helped to. The railroads were pushing west to Santa Fe. He was up in the Ellsworth area when the Union Pacific was coming through up there. And then he was down here in this area of the state when Santa Fe was pushing west. He wound up getting involved with the local town company that set up the city of Great Bend, and he wound up appointed the first sheriff. The Moses family was an influential family in the early days in Barton County. They owned a flour mill, his brother did. And like I say, George Moses was the first appointed sheriff of the county. I have located Mr. Moses, or Sheriff Moses's model 1860 Colt revolver. It is in New Jersey. The provenance on it is excellent. There is no doubt that was his gun. The gun was issued during the Civil War. He was a Civil War veteran. It is a cap and ball revolver. It has not been converted. It has remained in the same family. His great granddaughter has it now. That gun is going to be coming up for sale. It is my goal to get that gun back here to Barton County. We're not going to use tax dollars to do it, but I'm going to be out begging and soliciting funds. And before I just thought I ought to warn you before I'm out begging for money from everybody in the county, that I'm going to try to do that. But this is a piece of local history that gun needs to come back here. The daughter agrees that the gun needs to come back here. We're in negotiations right now. At one point, I thought I could get it donated. That's not going to happen. This is going, because of the provenance on the weapon and the history, and it can be proven where that gun came from and the history behind it. The value of it is in excess of $10,000. We're in negotiations right now as to what the final number is going to be, but and we can discuss all of this later, but I would like to see it displayed here in the courthouse. Initially, I thought we would put it on display at the sheriff's office with, we have a couple other sheriff's guns. When I retire, I'm probably going to donate my gun also. But I think Mr. Moses, Sheriff Moses' weapon, if it were here in the courthouse, would be exposed to far more people. I would like to see it displayed on the first floor foyer here. But like I say, I got to get the gun bought first. And there will be no tax dollars used to buy the weapon, Susan. We're either going to do it from non-tax money or through private donations. My goal is to do it from private donations. I'm open to suggestions on how to raise the money. I've been dealing with this for about a year. I think I actually mentioned it to some of the commissioners that gun had first showed up a year ago, sheerly by happenstance. We had a chiefs meeting once a month. The chiefs of police and the sheriff get together and we just compare notes for what's going on for the month. Chance Bailey, chief of police at Ellenwood, threw a photocopied article, and I think it was from a Washington Post, on my desk. And the article was 6-8 months old at the time when it landed on my desk. Laid there another month or two, and I finally got around to reading it. Basically, the gist of it was, what do you do with family heirlooms when nobody wants them? And I'm immediately going, we want it. So it's a whole interesting story of how I finally got contact with the lady that wrote the article. She wrote for Bloomberg. She wrote for the Washington Post. I Googled her name. I couldn't find anything on her. So I shotgunned out 30 letters probably to every place I could find that she had a byline on where she had wrote an article. Drive down the street one day and the phone rings and look down and said New York. And I'm thinking, this has got to be spam. I almost didn't answer it. Punched it. The guy's name, I think, was Robert. The guy goes, this is Robert O'Brien. I'm the managing editor of Bloomberg Magazine. Are you looking for, I don't want to say her name right now, but yes, I am. And so I'll get your information to her. And she contacted me. And then, like I said, that was about a year ago. We're working on it now to get a final number. But once I do, I'm going to go forward and try to bring that gun home. It's probably going to be my last legacy, my last goal as sheriff. Any questions?
That is.
That's founded.
Right, right.
Thank you, Commissioners.
I'll bet you we can come up with 10 grand in this community.
Yeah, and I don't know where we're at.
Probably private donations, you know?
Yeah, I think, I think we can do that. The gun would not be that expensive if it was not for being able to prove where it came from. Those Colt single action armies are fairly common. They were Civil War pistols, I mean, they were hundreds of thousands of them built. But because of its history and being able to tie it back to a certain location, Barton County, and to a certain individual, it causes the value of a weapon like that to go up quite a bit. So like I say, we're going to pay a premium for it. But this is, in my opinion, this is something that needs to come home. It needs to come home here to Barton County.
Mr. Chairman, I bet you have pictures of Sheriff Moses.
That is my next, I do have,
Okay.
we've got photographs of everyone who has ever held the office.
Yeah, I thought you had pictures. I'm sorry. So we definitely don't have pictures of him holding that gun if we don't
Don't
have.
know yet.
Yeah.
My next mission is to go down and twist some arms at the Historical Society and have them dig around, see what we can, what
You could
shows.
start by just asking.
Huh?
You could start by just asking.
Nah, you just start hardcore and go and let it go from there.
All right.
But, I believe, at least in one instance, I believe that gun killed a man at Ellsworth. And they were trying to bring a guy back on a rape case. I do have quite a bit of history about Moses that I've collected over the years. He was interesting individual, Civil War veteran. Interestingly enough, his the first deputy sheriff, and by all accounts, Moses was a fairly straight-laced the lawmen of that time were on the edge. To this day, it's one of the reasons I can't have a liquor license in the state of Kansas is because of the Earp brothers in Dodge City. You can't be a law enforcement officer and sell booze. It's prohibited. But by all accounts, Moses was a fairly straight-laced, straight-shooter guy. The first deputy sheriff of Barton County was a guy named Jim Gainsford. He was now this is the deputy under George Moses. They worked together quite a bit. Well, they worked together a lot. Gainsford was a Confederate veteran, whereas Moses was a Union veteran. I found it interesting that after the Civil War like that, nobody cared. And Gainsford probably was the antithesis of Moses. He was an interesting individual from what you read about it. He is more what you would expect along the lines of the Earp brothers and that sort of thing. I do have the original jail records over there from 1872, 73, when Moses was sheriff, 74. And I'm not, Susan, I'm not exactly, these dates it was kind of convoluted. The records are not real great because I think the county was actually formed in 72 or 73. And then he was appointed prior to it actually being a county. It's my understanding they had to have the county officers in place and then they made the county. This is something, maybe there's a local historian out there or something that can help us out on that. But I found it interesting that, after the Civil War like that, everybody was involved in all this kind of stuff. So there's a great amount of history involved here. There's probably going to have to rely on a lot of other people to help us out. But if I do get and quite frankly, the family is somewhat hesitant to sell it, but there's nobody left that really wants it. It laid in a storage shed in Dodge City, Kansas for 17 years. And the woman that owns it now, she will furnish us copies of the appraisal but there are signed affidavits as to where that gun was from this period to that period, from this period to the next period. So the history of it is probably documented as well as any antique that I've ever seen. But other than that, just wanted to give you a heads up.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
for some time now, I've been working with Diana and Matt and so forth, trying to get the original doors to the courthouse, at least two of the four doors brought back. And so that we could build kind of a shadow box somewhere on the first floor, depending on what everybody else thinks. And so these could be opened and we could display different items. And I think it would be so cool to have.
I would consider, you've all been over there and seen my mini museum. We would be happy to donate some of the artifacts that we have over there. The whole museum thing over there was an accident. Most of that stuff was piled in my office. And at one point we found a display case for like $50. So we bought it and we just kept adding display cases. But that would be great if we would. And that is I truly believe, I really wanted to put it at the sheriff's office first, but thinking this through, it needs more exposure. I mean, where people walking, there's far more traffic walking through the courthouse than there is my conference room. But I really think it needs to be over here. So
That's exciting.
I'm sure. Do you know, was George Moses related to the Moseses that are here now?
she does not know. I asked the lady that she does not believe so. Now, she can't swear to it. The Moses family, you go out to the west side of the cemetery, and out here there's a family plot, very large family plot, which the entire Moses family, or most of the Moses family, is buried in. She thinks that most of them had moved away by the 1930s. They were all very influential from the time the city and the county were formed. And then she told me that at some point, the family fortunes were basically lost, like during the Great Depression. They were owners, which was common back in those days. They all owned quite a bit of ground. And by the end of the 1930s, most of that money, ground, and assets had been lost. And she thinks that most of them either died here or moved away. But I can't swear to it. And she couldn't either. She was not 100% sure. And maybe, we get this thing going, reach out to some of the local people here, the Moses families, and see if they know, do your ancestors go back 100 years here, or did they come from someplace else? So.
Interesting. I'm excited. I think it needs to be back here. And Commissioner Zimmerman, those doors would be the perfect thing to build to house this. And
Excited about it.
yeah.
As I said a minute ago, I am open to all avenues and any suggestions here. This is not my forte, but once we get a price nailed down, I'll be back to see you and we'll go forward from there.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for the information.
That was a lot more interesting than the water softener.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing. Okay, next we have item C is county website, SOCS. And Mr. Pottsner will give us details.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
The past several years, Barton County's website, www.bartoncounty.org, has been hosted by FES/SOX. In 2019, county personnel undertook a site update. Since that time, the county's allowed, in the past, we had a 3-year commitment that was optioned for January 28, 2023 until January 27, 2026. It is suggested that the county now renew for 1 year, allowing for a search of options related to the website. The total cost comes to $5,225, and it would be paid out of the General Finance Economic Development line. And we just asked you to consider approval for 1 more year of website hosting fees from FES/SOX.
Anybody have discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, I'm ready for a motion. Sure.
Association of Educational Services, PS-/SOCS, cost to be paid from the general finance account of the general fund economic development line 001-26-6880.
Okay, we've got a first motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on. And once again, we have Mr. Potzner up. He's going to provide us on details of release of certain liens.
So in the mid 1990s, the then Kansas Department of Commerce and Housing awarded CDBG grant number 94-HR-196, a housing rehabilitation grant to Barton County. With funding allocated to low to moderate income persons, work included the rehabilitation of 24 homes and the demolition of another 4. As a condition of the financing, Barton County filed a passive lien on the subject properties. The $300,000 grant that included a county match of $11,500 was closed out in December of 1998. It is believed that all the conditions of the grant were completed, but the liens were inadvertently not released at that time. As such, it is suggested that the commission release any remaining liens filed as a result of this grant. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
And this is mainly housekeeping.
Yeah,
All right.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have discussion on this?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if you're ready, I'd just go ahead and make a motion.
I'm ready.
I would move to release certain passive liens filed in favor of Barton County relative to CDBG grant number 94-HR-196. Authorize the chairman to sign on behalf of the commission for the releases to include the properties listed below. And I'm not going to read all those.
Okay, I've got a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to executive session. Is there a reason we need an executive session?
Not this.
Not, okay, not this time. Okay, any business? We have, following the close of the agenda meeting, the commission will consider the authorization of personnel changes for classified positions, sign any documentation approved during the agenda meeting, or sign any other documentation required for the regular county business. Similar action may take place throughout the day. Appointments, although subject to change, the following appointments have been scheduled at 9:45 or following the close of the agenda meeting, the planning commission with media consultants. 10 o'clock, financial update with and regular business discussion with Matt, the administrator. 10:30, IRB / economic development annual review. The Red Barn, Bev Smidler, County Clerk Jim Jordan, County Treasurer Wendy Prosser, County Appraiser, and Mr. Potzner. At 10:45, program update, Brooke Hallmark, CKCC Director, 11:15, 911 grant update, Dina Pop, 911 Director. At 11:30 a.m., the FY27 grant allocation, Marissa Woodmansee, Juvenile Director Service. And at 1 o'clock, Homeless Park Project, Christina Hayes, Western Cooperative Electric Association. And at 1:30, program update, Casey Hubbard, Human Resource Director. And the county edition at KVGB AM Thursdays at 11:05, Wendy Prosser, County Appraiser, is scheduled for February 19, 2026. Okay, moving on, discussion items, and this is mainly for the commissioners. Do we have any discussion items? Okay, no discussion items. Citizens organization may present requests or proposals for initial consideration at this time, and I see none. One or more commissioners may be present in the commission chambers conducting county business throughout the day on Tuesdays. The commissioners may individually schedule personnel appointments related to the county business at their discretion. The next regular meeting will be at 9 a.m. Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. And with no other discussion, I'm ready for adjourn.
I would move to go ahead and adjourn.
Okay, at first,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, or all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.